Hi, I'm Anup, and I welcome you all to Blue Saffron, the podcast program of corporateshitak.com, sponsored by Jani Plastics. And you are about to receive knowledge on Indian and Australian GST, goods and service tax. Yeah, you got it right, mate. Let's get started, shall we? October 13th, 2021. Time of supply under GST invoice. Friends, just like there is a place of supply, we have something called as time of supply, which is TOS. It is a moment when liability to charge GST arises. Why is it so important? Because the payment of GST depends on the time of supply, which must take place by the 20th of the next month of the time of supply. For example, if time of supply is October 2021, then the return has to be filed, that is GST has to be paid by 20th of November 2021, the next month. As per recent amendments, sales data has to be furnished by 10th, but the time of supply is abstract. It can be any of whichever the earliest. One is date of issuance of the GST invoice, that's the invoice date. Could be date of the removal of goods, that's the date of dispatch. Could be date of payment from the customer, that's advance payment, whichever is earliest. So whichever happens earlier becomes your time of supply. If you asked me, I would suggest point number 1, do not generate GST invoice before the date of the dispatch to avoid early tax liability. Earlier the date of invoice, earlier the tax liability gets. Point number 2, in case the customer is willing to pay in advance, at least ask for the raw material amount and GST of finished goods to the customer. This will safeguard you against possible late pending payment from the customer, and you'll be able to at least pay your GST on time. Remember, we are talking about GST, goods and service tax, all right? So there is a time of supply of goods and there is a time of supply of service. The small difference here is there is one more date, the date which the recipient of your service shows in their books of having received the service. Any of these 4 dates shall be considered as time of supply, whichever is the earliest. Now, some exasperated souls might say government wants tax ASAP regardless of what you do. However, here is some silver lining. Wide notification number 66 by 2017 Central Tax dated 15th of October 2017. On recommendation of the GST Council, the Department of Revenue under the Ministry of Finance under the Government of India seeks to exempt all taxpayers from payment of the tax on advances received in case of supply of goods. Fair income? Nevertheless, I myself have read the Gazette and found it is not for the composition scheme holders. There you go, unlucky fellow. So my dear listeners, I hope you enjoyed the audio. I also hope there was some takeaway for you. Signing off now. We'll come up with more interesting episodes. Till then, take good care of yourselves. Keep liking your one and only Blue Saffron. Cheers. Bye-bye.